Now on 12, storms slammed the borough, leaving streets and cars submerged in water. We give you a look at the aftermath. Coney Island, Crown Heights, and Canarsie. 3 shootings, 1 holiday weekend. We break down the violence. A car crashes through the front of a healthcare clinic in Flatbush. The exclusive video and the business owners fight for answers as News 12 Brooklyn starts right now. But first, we are on Storm Watch tonight, getting right to our wet weather. Thanks for joining us here on News 12 Brooklyn. I'm Marissa Santorelli, joined now by Storm Watch team meteorologist Skylar Day Harmon, timing all that wet weather out for us. Skylar.
We have dealt with the brunt, Marissa, but as we head throughout the rest of the overnight into early parts of our Tuesday, we are still going to be in that flood watch till 6 a.m. So want to stay mindful of the potential for some of those problems. There is still going to be some rain during the overnight. Couple pocket of downpours are possible. There could be some thunder within that, but largely that is out of the way. But taking a look at our Tuesday, we're going to be starting off on the soggy side, unfortunately. We're going to be seeing that rain throughout early parts of the day. That includes your morning commute, so you might need that umbrella one more time. But the good news is that we will be drying out as we head into Tuesday night. So timing out, the most likely time for some of that rain is going to be in the morning. Then that's going to taper off later on throughout the day. We have more rain to talk about this week. We'll do that with your 10-day in just a few minutes. Marissa?
Need those umbrellas tomorrow. Skylar, thank you. Governor Hochul took a moment to address New Yorkers about the dangerous conditions caused by the heavy rains, as well as the potential for flash flooding. She wants New Yorkers to know just how perilous things can get and not to ever underestimate Mother Nature.
Blink and it's there. That is basically how you can describe what a flash flood is. There is no time to prepare for it. It is something that comes up unexpectedly and can be very, very dangerous. And so we'll be seeing Long Island, New York City in the bullseye with a 70% chance of flash flooding. That is real. That is real.
And you can take a look at just how dangerous Mother Nature can be with these storm conditions over in Sheepshead Bay. Take a look. This was over on Avenue R. A massive tree falling down on top of a car, blocking a roadway there. New York City Parks tells us forestry crews are hard at work cleaning up damaged trees and debris from this storm. As of 6 p.m. today, NYC Parks have received more than 700 reports of damaged or fallen trees. They're urging you to call 311 to file those reports, and they say do not hesitate to call 911 if in immediate danger. The heavy rainfall turning streets into rivers and flooding basements in Coney Island. News 12's Tim Harfman has more on how residents are digging out.
Sounds of sump pumps can be heard along West 35th Street, trying to drain the flooding from today's storm. Shakina Daniels says the water just kept coming in.
The entire basement was covered in water that we had to call the fire department to come out, and they shut our power off.
The flood water was so high, the fire department actually had to remove the cellar door from the basement steps, and you can actually see the watermark here on the staircase.
The whole entire basement is flooded up until the first floor unit.
Wayne Wilson lives 2 doors down and says there's not much he can do to prevent his basement from flooding.
The street was flooded. Back there, all the cars reversed and the water come back.
Neighbors say the storm drains on the corner near Neptune Avenue are constantly clogged, and the city only makes minor repairs.
They will come, they will clean it, but they never fix our problem.
Back at Shakina's building, she says the property group, New Day Management, sent a small crew to clean up the big mess.
They were just like, well, we're not in charge of Mother Nature. Like, they can't really do nothing.
She tells us the power is turned off, forcing tenants to find shelter elsewhere. We reached out to New Day Management several times tonight. We were either hung up on or sent straight to voicemail.
You're getting rent, so you guys need to do your part. You guys need to come and make sure that we're living in a safe environment with our kids and our elderly family members. This is ridiculous.
In Coney Island, Tim Harfman, News 12 Brooklyn.
Tim, thank you. The rain causing major flooding in parts of Brooklyn, especially on Coney Island. News 12 video shows roads turned into rivers at the intersection of West 33rd Street and Neptune Avenue. Take a look. Cars and buses were struggling to try to make their way down the road. Now, for people trying to cross the street, water levels were nearly knee height. The flooding happening along multiple blocks along Neptune Avenue. Neighbors tell News 12 this happens in the area often, though this flooding was some of the worst they've seen.
Crazy because Every time it's rain out here, we get flooded. I don't know if it's from the ocean or from the rainwater itself, but it's been going on for a long time.
I didn't expect it to be this bad when I walked outside. It was like, oh, flooding. I was like, okay, normal stuff. I didn't expect this.
I don't think anybody expected it to be this bad. Now, much of the high water levels have since receded. The city urging anyone who sees any clogged drains causing flooding to call 311. Now to Diker Heights, where power lines caught fire. Take a look at the Citizen app video, which shows those wires sizzling, sending smoke into the air. Fortunately, no one was caught up in this situation here as FDNY crews worked to snuff this out. From Canarsie to Coney Island and Crown Heights, gunfire erupted across our borough this holiday weekend. And tonight, police are still searching for those responsible for the string of shootings that took over this 4th of July weekend, leaving multiple people hurt. News 12's Morgan Scott has the latest.
What should have been a weekend of celebration has instead left families and community members traumatized.
There is no place for this kind of violence in our city.
The violence first began in Canarsie just before 2 a.m. on Saturday morning. Police say the man on your screen shot a 27-year-old woman in her leg inside a packed restaurant and lounge on Avenue D. But several hours later, on the same 4th of July Saturday, a family barbecue in Coney Island became the scene of a mass shooting.
My niece got hit, my great-nephew, my cousin got hit.
Police say a ski-masked gunman dressed in all black opened fire into a courtyard, shooting 8 family members. Relatives told us a 21-year-old woman is fighting for her life after being shot in the chest. And as the weekend came to an end, in Crown Heights, video shows an armed man shooting towards an unmarked police vehicle. In the midst of gunfire being exchanged by both police and the suspect, an officer was shot in the back of his vest by what now appears to be friendly fire. The 18-year-old suspect, who police say had just opened fire on an Uber driving by minutes before this shooting, was taken into custody.
The officers involved in this incident were there as part of our 4th of July violence reduction plan.
But as police continue to strategize their approach to this summer, there is still so much more to be done to put an end to the cycle of violence continuing to impact so many lives. Morgan Scott, News 12, Brooklyn.
A violent weekend. Morgan, thank you. 15 people are in the hospital after a crash between an MTA bus and a box truck in Gravesend. It's a Citizen video of the scene of the crash over on 365 Avenue U. This is right between West and East 1st Street. The MTA telling us this was a B3 bus that got into a collision with the truck at around 10 o'clock Monday morning. The EMS transported 15 people to nearby hospitals. Fortunately, everyone only sustaining minor injuries and will all be okay. The NYPD just released body cam footage of the daring rescue that performed after a seaplane crashed on the East River this weekend. The NYPD's Harbor Unit rescued 8 passengers on board after that plane made an emergency landing on Sunday. The plane was upright while it made a landing Sunday afternoon right there in the water. Authorities say 2 people were hurt but refused medical attention. Now it's still unclear what led up to the landing, but the FAA says it's caused a wing strut to snap. New tonight, we're learning FDNY crews responded to a mattress fire out of East New York. This was over on 2640 Pitkin Avenue between Crystal Street and Fountain Avenue. We're told this mattress fire was on the 3rd floor of the building there. Fortunately, no one was injured, but fire marshals have requested for an investigation into this fire. Thousands of young New Yorkers looking to make some cash while school is out started their new jobs with the city's summer youth employment program. The Mamdani administration says more than 100,000 New Yorkers ages 14 to 24 are working with the program this year. And there are a wide range of jobs they can do, including community organizations, government agencies, and even small businesses. SYEP runs until August, and young New Yorkers who get involved will get paid for their work along with getting professional experience. Tragedy at LaGuardia Airport.
Stop. Stop, truck one, stop.
As an Air Canada jet crashes into a truck on the runway.
It was just a very loud boom.
2 pilots dead, dozens recovering in the hospital.
You know, nothing can really prepare you for this.
More questions than answers tonight as officials try to piece together what happened leading up to that deadly plane crash.
We were dealing with an emergency earlier. I messed up.
No, man, you did the best you could.
Where the investigation stands, plus expert analysis from current and former employees from the airline, as News 12 starts now. Good evening and thanks for joining us here on News 12 Brooklyn. I'm Marissa Santorelli. A deadly crash on the runway at LaGuardia Airport, leaving 2 pilots dead, dozens injured, and hundreds of flights canceled and delayed. And tonight, family identifying one of the pilots as Antoine Forrest of Canada. News 12's Natalie Hernandez is at the airport now with the latest on the investigation. Natalie, what are officials saying?
Marissa, tonight there are more questions than answers. The plane is still here on the runway, and we're going to zoom in so you can really just take in that damage as investigators work to figure out how this even happened.
Stop, 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 truck one, stop, stop, stop.
The moments before impact.
Stop, truck one. Stop.
Officials say an Air Canada Express flight from Montreal carrying 72 passengers and 4 crew members collided with a Port Authority fire truck just before midnight. The crash killing both pilots and sending more than 40 people to the hospital.
These were 2 young men at the start of their careers, so my heart really goes out to the families.
The National Transportation Safety Board, also known as the NTSB, deploying a team of more than 24 specialists, now working through a large debris field stretched across the runway, already recovering vital evidence from the plane.
In order to get to the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder, the Port Authority and the emergency responders cut a hole on the roof of the aircraft, dropped down, and was able to get the CVR and FDR for us.
Officials call it a miracle more people weren't seriously hurt.
It has been over 34 years since we had an incident with a death at the airport.
LaGuardia is back open, but operating at a reduced capacity.
We are working our hearts out to make sure that when people travel, whether by rail or car or by air, that they travel safely.
Transportation officials say the focus now is on safety and understanding exactly what went wrong.
And we put in precautions and policies to make sure that you are safe when you travel. When I was at the crash site, it was just a reminder that when you're traveling by air, you should wear your seatbelt.
Investigators say this will be a thorough and transparent investigation as officials work to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Marissa?
Natalie, thank you for breaking down all of those details. Now, one big question is, what did it look like inside of the plane when it crashed? Well, before she joined News 12 as a reporter, our very own Shakti Dennis had a career as a flight attendant for the very airline whose plane crashed last night. She brings us a different perspective.
Yeah, I was a flight attendant for 10 years for Air Canada. So this morning when I heard the news, I was in shock. I started texting my former coworkers and my friends to find out more about what happened and who was involved. Everyone I spoke to is devastated. And I spoke to a pilot who flew on Air Canada Jazz for 11 years, including 9 years on that CRJ 900.
It's just horrifying to think of how these pilots died.
Julian Compton flew the same Air Canada Jazz plane that crashed at LaGuardia Airport for almost a decade.
They have world-class training, but even with that, nothing can really prepare you for this.
Officials say the plane collided with an emergency truck right after touching down.
They were traveling down the runway at considerable speed because they had just touched down. Even though they were decelerating, when a vehicle pulls in front of you just like that, it's just, like there's almost no time to react at all.
He says he's flown in and out of LaGuardia more times than he can count.
It's a very hectic airport to fly in and out of.
He says he's had a few close calls there himself.
I remember the first time was because there was an aircraft on the runway.
While the 2 pilots were killed, everyone else on board survived, including Solange Tremblay, the flight attendant sitting in the front right behind the flight deck. She was ejected from the plane, still trapped to her drum seat. I spoke to her daughter, who says Tremblay broke her leg in multiple places and had to undergo surgery. But in what almost seems like a miracle, she's expected to be okay.
I know Solange personally. We worked together a few times when I was at Jazz. Very, very nice lady. She's very professional, very thorough in her work. I guess it wasn't her time.
So in this case, the crew was never able to give the command to evacuate. We now know why. So the passengers who were sitting at the emergency row did the right thing, and they waited a few minutes and then evacuated themselves. That's what you should do if you do sit at those emergency exits. You have a huge responsibility. Here in studio, Shakti Dennis, News 12.
Shakti, truly a different perspective there. Thank you. Now, LaGuardia Airport remains a scene of devastation tonight after that deadly crash. Air traffic control audio that we heard earlier reveals a chaotic scramble seconds before the deadly crash. Aviation experts call this, quote, a runway incursion. Essentially, it's a high-stakes error where a vehicle or plane is where it shouldn't be, an occurrence federal regulators are desperate to stop.
Sadly, we say that aviation regulations are written in blood, meaning that there's a fatality and then maybe the regulations are changed. So it could be policies, could be procedures, could be improvement on communications.
Now, the NTSB investigation into how that truck ended up in the path of a landing plane is only just the beginning. And President Donald Trump's ordering of federal immigration agents to help with security at U.S. airports. This as a federal funding standoff continues, with many TSA agents calling out sick from work or just leaving the job altogether. Immigration agents were noticeably present among passengers on Monday at JFK's Terminal 8. Some lawmakers and union leaders say these officers are not trained for airport security and worry it could add more tension. Passengers there definitely had mixed reactions.
I wonder about ICE agents doing TSA work because they haven't been trained. So I did have a thought about that, but we'll just hope for the best.
I guess if it helps, it helps. For now, but they should really make a deal in Congress.
The Department of Homeland Security says more than 11% of TSA agents nationwide called out of work on Sunday, the highest since the shutdown. However, it's unclear exactly how many federal immigration agents are now being deployed to our local airports. Switching gears now, let's get a check of the weather and bring in meteorologist Skylar Day Harmon. Skylar, we had some rain today, some kind of ugly weather, hopefully some better weather on the way.
Better indeed. It's going to be similar temperature-wise, Marissa, tomorrow, but in terms of what we're dealing with sunshine-wise, a big change of pace. Plenty of sunshine all day, a whole lot more than what we started the week with, and there's going to be less wind, so some good news there. But until we get there, temperatures are going to be cold for the overnight, around freezing. Those clouds are going to clear out, and we'll talk more about that 10-day forecast in just a few minutes. Marissa?
Skylar, thank you. A Brooklyn woman is behind bars charged with murdering an elderly woman and trying to do the same to another elderly woman inside their Crown Heights apartment. News 12's Morgan Scott spoke with neighbors who knew the people involved and say they'd never expect something like this to happen.
None of our neighbors kill each other.
Words that Diana Harris never thought could be proven wrong. That is, until a 74-year-old woman who lived across the hall from her was stabbed to death, and a 72-year-old woman was stabbed several times in her arm and back.
It's very scary. It's very traumatizing. I never expected that to happen. That's why it's sad. And they're nice people. They're quiet. They're loving.
Police have identified the 74-year-old woman killed as Hariyatu Ba. They also say her killer, 43-year-old Omuba, was actually her roommate.
That could have been my grandmother, because you think that you know somebody, but we don't really know the people that we're living next to.
We're told the two elderly women lived in this apartment for at least a decade, although several others eventually moved in and out as well. But not once did neighbors think anyone inside would be capable of what happened on March 21st.
There was 2 girls, 1 boy. When they came off the elevator, we could hear them shouting, arguing.
She says the suspect was already visibly angry before even walking into the apartment that night, and it only took a few minutes for cops to arrive next.
Why she came home and did this, I can't say, because she was outside. If she was upset, she should have stayed out. Seek help. You shouldn't have came home. Because as soon as she closed the door, she went into the attack.
And now, the place that was once a home to several people, now covered in bloody reminders of the tragic incident. The suspect is soon expected to be arraigned. In Crown Heights, Morgan Scott, News 12 Brooklyn.
Really chilling details there, Morgan. Thank you. New tonight, police are investigating after a 53-year-old woman was slashed at a senior living building in Bushwick. Police tell us that woman worked as an aide at that senior living building on 223 Linden Street. She was slashed in the head and her right arm just after 12:30 this afternoon. She was taken to Wyckoff Hospital, where thankfully she is in stable condition. However, that woman's attacker was found dead at the scene after police say they jumped out from the building. At this time, no word on any relation between the victim and her attacker. Don't go anywhere. News 12 Brooklyn will be right back.
Now on 12, if you've been anywhere in New York today, you know the vibes are still off the charts. The Knicks brought home a championship for the first time in more than 50 years. And fans are making sure everybody knows it. Obviously, we'll take you to the celebrations happening across the city. But not everyone in our city was celebrating the Knicks win the right way. Some fans took things way too far. Police say there were dozens of arrests, stabbings, a shooting, even school buses set on fire. Come on, people, that is not the way to do it. We'll break down the chaos that happened overnight. And back here in our borough, a Knicks watch party went from a celebration to a crime scene when a man was shot to death. What we're learning about the search for the suspect from Prospect Lefferts Gardens. Those stories and more as News 12 Brooklyn starts right now.
Fans, this is not a dream. Your long, long wait has ended. Go ahead and cry. After 53 years, the Knicks are finally NBA champions once again.
Well, pinch me then, because it kind of still feels like a dream. The Knicks won the series 4-1, rallying from double-digit deficits in all four of those victories. A stunning and unbelievable W. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Kelly Kennedy and it is a great day to be a New Yorker. For the first time in 53 years, New York rules the NBA. We did it. The Knicks beat the San Antonio Spurs 94-90 in Game 5 of the NBA Finals, and it was pretty epic. Here's the moment Adam Silver presented the Larry O'Brien Trophy to James Dolan and the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson scored 45 points, including 13 straight for New York in the fourth quarter. He was on fire. He was the NBA Finals MVP, and during the on-court celebration, he said this moment was everything he'd ever dreamed of. And overnight and into early this morning, the Empire State Building and Madison Square Garden were both shining brightly in Knicks orange and blue. Mayor Mamdani says City Hall and municipal buildings across the city will be lit up in blue and orange on Thursday, June 18th. Well, for the first time in more than 5 decades, the New York Knicks are NBA champions. And as celebrations continue across the city, fans tell us this is a moment they've been waiting generations for. News 12's Sam Israel has reaction from the Bronx.
With the Blue and Orange winning their first championship since 1973, New York City is buzzing with excitement. We caught up with New Yorkers who say it all still feels like a dream.
Congratulations to the Knicks.
Knicks in 5! Knicks in 5!
We on the map now.
This championship is hitting New Yorkers at different points in their lives, turning a long-awaited title into something deeply personal.
Yesterday was my birthday, and they won yesterday, June 13th. So that's what I wanted for my birthday.
The last championship was when I graduated from high school. So that tells you how old I am. So I'm really excited.
Right, I was at prom, game 4. It was great. I loved it. Brunson made that 3. OG made the comeback. I loved it.
Mom, dad, everybody loved the Knicks, and they did see championships, so now I get to see a championship with my son and my family.
For many Knicks fans, this moment brings back all the memories of sticking with this team through the ups and downs, including the 2021 playoffs, when Derrick Rose and the Knicks faced off against Trae Young and the Hawks.
And it's unfortunate we lost that series. I know we were favored to win that series. It's unfortunate we lost it. But at the same time, that was a stepping stone that we needed to get to where we are today.
It's been a fun ride. This make it all that much better and whatnot, because, it was a lot of losing.
New Yorkers remembering the players who kept them invested through years of near misses and rebuilding seasons.
Shout out Carmelo Anthony. I'm going to shout out Patrick Ewing, Bernard King, John Starks, Charles Oakley.
John Starks. Patrick Ewing.
So shout out my boy Langston Galloway. Shout out Aaron Aflalo. Shout out to Mindaugas Kuzminskas. Shout out to Ron Baker. Shout out to Willie Hernan Gomez.
Go Knicks!
Many Knicks fans who we spoke with say they are planning to attend the Knicks parade, which is set for this Thursday. Sam Israel, News 12.
Sam, I'm one of them. It's my day off, and I definitely plan on heading down there. And for the most part, the historic championship win has brought New Yorkers together, as you just saw, uniting our city in celebration. But unfortunately, some fans decided to make the rest of us look bad, resorting to violence and destruction. News 12's Jody Juliana Powell joins us now from the Alert Center with a look at some of that chaos. Jody, pretty disappointing stuff.
The first finals win in more than 5 decades has everyone, including myself, cheering the team on, wearing orange and blue, but last night, supporting the team for some in the area of MSG meant violence, vandalism, and chaos. Police say 63 people were arrested in connection to the Knicks celebration. Take a look at the flames engulfing this school bus. This and 4 others were destroyed. They were being used to transport people to MetLife Stadium. The chaos turned violent in some areas. Police say a 17-year-old was shot near 43rd Street and Broadway. He's expected to be okay, but officials say massive crowds made it difficult for EMS crews to reach him and get him to a hospital. Large fights also broke out across the area, leaving 4 people stabbed. The destruction didn't stop there. Multiple vehicles, including 5 NYPD patrol cars, were heavily damaged. Windows were shattered as people climbed and jumped on top of vehicles. Days ago, the NYPD announced extra shifts for officers to combat the crowds, but it was no match for the crowded streets where people lit fireworks and climbed to any high surface they could find, including traffic lights and scaffolding. 10 police officers were hurt in the madness. One of them punched in the face and another struck with a glass bottle. We spoke to fans today following the win, and this is how they reacted to the chaos.
There's no reason for violence or things to happen badly. This is a joyous time. So why do a few people ruin it for everybody?
We better than that. We better than that,
Dozens of people charged last night with assault of an officer, possession of a weapon, disorderly conduct, just to name a few. The parade is in a few days, and hopefully the celebration is remembered for the team's success and not the rowdy behavior of fans. At the Alert Center, Jody Juliana Powell, News 12.
Jody, thank you. I think we're all hoping that everybody keeps it together for that parade on Thursday. Now, what should have been a night of joy ended with crime scene tape in Prospect Lefferts Gardens. Police say a 44-year-old man was shot and killed following a Knicks game watch party. What started as a night of cheers quickly turned to sirens as police and EMS rushed out to Lincoln Road. Investigators say 44-year-old Emmanuel Spencer was found shot multiple times and died at Kings County NYC Health and Hospital just before midnight. Overturned chairs and a projector still remained on the street, a painful reminder of a community gathering that ended in tragedy.
It's unfortunate to see the crime scene tape out, especially for such a moment that should be full of joy.
Police have now classified the case as a homicide and say they're still working to uncover who is responsible. Well, we are on storm watch for rain. It's been a really hot weekend. Let's check in now with Storm Watch team meteorologist Hilda Estevez for a look at the forecast.
Storm watch tonight as we are noticing and tracking those rumbles of thunder parading across our borough. Now, we are anticipating some brief localized flooding possible for some area spots across the coastal regions. Also, with it comes the potential for coastal flooding associated with high tide, not only for this evening, but into tomorrow. Now, we are also tracking damaging winds with this kind of big parading storm that is moving east towards daybreak, we are going to notice some beautiful improvements, a drier, cooler notion. Take a look at temperatures here. By 5 o'clock, 70 nice and clear. We welcome in the sweet sunshine, upper 60s heading towards 70s, much more seasonable breath of fresh air. We have to talk about rain potential in moments.
A 27-year-old man is in the hospital tonight after a shooting in Flatlands. This unfolding at around 4:15 in the morning on 1402 East 58th Street. That's near Avenue N. Police tell us the 27-year-old man was shot in his right leg and taken to Brookdale Hospital, where he's expected to be okay. Right now, police are looking for 3 men in connection to the incident. Brooklyn's annual Puerto Rican Day Parade made its way down Knickerbocker Avenue today as the community packed in to celebrate. But News 12's Rob Flax explains how this year it's looking a bit different in more ways than one.
From Brooklyn, I play for the Knicks and I'm Puerto Rican.
Jose Alvarado, front and center of this year's Puerto Rican Day Parade down Knickerbocker Avenue in Bushwick as crowds packed in, showing off their pride. Even Mayor Mamdani joining in on the festivities. From kids less than a year old to seniors and everyone in between, these streets were filled with smiles.
I'm excited for my daughter since it's her first parade.
And what's her name?
Her name is Lydia. Say hi, mamas.
But this year's parade was also the first since 2 teens were stabbed last year after official celebrations ended, prompting major safety changes.
Now what you're looking at is one of the many safety upgrades of this year's parade compared to last year. As you can see, there is an opening in the barricades to allow people to cross over through the streets safely. There's also a heightened police presence compared to last year.
But unfortunately tonight we're learning they were not enough. One man in stable condition after being slashed in the leg at the intersection of Knickerbocker Avenue and Grove Street. We're told a suspect is already in custody with charges pending. But residents say that's not what celebrating this parade should mean.
Puerto Rican pride is to be able to acknowledge the culture in itself, like the music, the people, and to just overall like know yourself as a Puerto Rican.
In Bushwick, Rob Flax, News 12, Brooklyn.
Rob, thank you. And new tonight, firefighters responding to a building blaze in Brownsville. Firefighters headed over to 1151 Wilmore Street this afternoon. That situation under control in roughly 20 minutes. No one was hurt.